Hello, everybody. Welcome back to A Movie and No Haunt, where it's a new year but the same old shit. I'm RJ.
And I'm Paige.
And today we are going to be talking about 2015's The Final Girls, also known as that movie that's a parody off of Friday. We can't escape it.
And I guess we can't. But this one is actually enjoyable. Yay.
Because it's not Friday.
Exactly. Technically.
It has the cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-chas.
Yeah.
So, first things first. Let's talk about this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot to say. I feel like this trailer doesn't do the movie justice. I feel like the movie's a lot. This movie turns me off from watching the movie. The trailer turns me off from watching the movie. Meanwhile, the movie I really enjoyed.
Right. I think it has to do with... I mean, isn't that well, I guess that's not a good thing. But it doesn't give away the true premise of the movie. You're going in thinking it's a horror parody. You're going to have a fun time, which you do, but there's another layer to it.
Yes.
So that's the only thing I can appreciate about the trailer. Other than that, I don't know. I same way. I was like, this looks stupid. Maybe I'll watch it, you know, if someone has it on or whatever. But we ended up, I think, both really liking this movie. I haven't seen it before the podcast. How about you?
I've always heard about it. I've seen short bits of it. I've never actually seen the movie.
Okay.
When I was looking at the movie, especially during the trailer, I was like, shit, this cast is insane for such a non-well-known horror movie, at least to me.
Yeah.
This movie has a really talented cast.
It really does. I was really surprised about that. And even when this movie was filmed, they were already pretty big, or at least up and coming.
They are definitely bigger now.
Oh, yeah.
What they were, but
for the most part.
I feel like Taissa Farmiga is the one that kind of got a lot bigger because this was before she was in movies like The Nun. She was just more known for just American Horror Story.
Right. But then we have Nina from Vampire Diaries. We have Aaliyah Shawkat, which I love. I was so happy to see her in this movie. The guy who plays, his name is Chris, right?
Yes.
He's in Vikings at this point when they're filming, so he's already up and coming. And then Adam.
Yeah, we have the guy from Silicon Valley.
Yeah, or Pitch Perfect, whichever
one.
Yeah.
Oh, no. He's not. No, the guy who's nerdy is from Silicon Valley.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, and then the annoying guy.
The jockey one is from Workaholics / Pitch Perfect.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. But yeah.
Again, really good cast.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell, because I can easily tell the director really was willing to let them improvise, and that was because of probably how talented that cast is.
Yes. And I do enjoy when directors give their actors room to be actors and experiment and have fun. And you end up getting some gold nuggets like this movie.
There's a few great gold nuggets. And I can't wait to talk about them. You'll know when I get into it.
Yeah, so let's get into it from here, right?
Let's get into this.
Okay.
Let's do it. All right. We begin this movie with what I call a stereotypical Friday trailer that walks through the synopsis of this movie's fictional movie, Camp Bloodbath. I don't remember much about it. I was just like, oh, wow, it's Friday. Thanks for bringing up all those repressed memories.
I really like this fake trailer because, what was it? Was it part 3 that I really, really liked the trailer because of all the stupid
yes,
puns?
It is part 3.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's a few in this one. And one of them I wrote down was they're like, about their kumbaya-ing around the campfire. And they go, Kumbaya, no. I don't know.
I was like, that's so
it's so campy. I'm already having a great time. I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to have a good time. There's good feelings coming into this movie. So, yeah, I liked it.
Instead of it just being like a trailer and nothing else, it just turns out that Max is watching the trailer on her phone at that point, and we see her mom very distressed walking back to her car from what I guessed is like a casting agency.
Yeah, like a tryouts for some sort of part that she was looking at. I guess she was probably going to be some sort of waitress or something because that was her costume she had on.
Turns out she got rejected for another role, and she regrets being in Camp Bloodbath, which brings up the line, never be in a slasher.
Yeah, I said 3 minutes in and we're getting meta already.
I mean, that is a line. Don't be in slashers.
Yeah.
this comes back later in the movie, and I didn't realize it, but she calls herself a movie star.
Yeah.
And then they begin driving. The mom is upset that her boyfriend, Frank, is not taking her to Palm Springs as her daughter tries to figure out how they're going to pay the electric bill.
Yeah, so we already see the dynamic between them. The mom really hasn't left her teenage years or like early 20s type of thing. I'm guessing she had her young. And so Max, who's the main character here, is already the grown-up figure in their dynamic. She's a cool mom, though. I like her. But yeah, so it's cool to see already really fast. We're seeing their type of relationship.
As Max is trying to figure everything out, her mom just takes the bills and throws it out of the car window.
Yeah.
And we get the beginning of the thing that makes you smile right now and makes you break into bawling tears at the end of the movie. We get Betty Davis eyes.
I already love this song, and now anytime I hear this song, like it came up at work, and I texted you when it did, and I was like,
"Yep,
I can't hear this song the same way ever again."
I mean, it did a good job. If we're both sitting here like, I can't listen to Betty Davis eyes.
Yeah, I do, and then feels hit. So,
we get this very cute moment of them just singing in the car together.
Yeah, having a great time.
It's a very nice moment.
Yes.
And as this is happening, you're like, okay, she's gonna die in the next like 60 seconds because you can't have this type of like parent figure in your life in a movie, because then there wouldn't be a movie. You'd end up fine.
Exactly. You can't not have mommy or daddy issues as the main character. But I was having a good time, and then literally my next note is ... Oh fuck.
Yep. Max drops coffee on her mom's headshots. Her mom kind of gets like, oh, you know how much those cost? And the car gets... Does the car get smashed into, or does it just tumble?
No, I think she hits some sort of like median or road repair, because she took her eyes off the road for a minute, and the car just gets wrecked.
The car tumbles, and it ends in like the middle of a four-way intersection. Mm-hmm. The one thing I didn't like about this scene, and allow me to be very picky for a moment, the visual effects of the car were very blatant because they didn't shadow the car into the street. So you can just tell they placed a 3D model of the car onto like a still of the street.
Yeah. I don't know if that's due to lack of time or care for this scene particularly, but I did notice that immediately. I was like, ooh, that doesn't look right.
I also found the lighting in this entire beginning not good.
Yeah.
Reason being is they're driving at nighttime.
No, they weren't. It was like sunset, right?
It's still at the point where street lights are going to be on, neon lights are going to be on, and they're kind of going to take up most of the light on a street at this point. And the way those work is, one time you'll be kind of, washed out with orange and then white and then any sort of color of a neon light, and then you'll eventually go back to like a neutral tone, which is kind of you not passing any light. That's why like doing nighttime shit isn't really ideal, because you have to do a lot of lighting changes.
Yeah, especially
if you're not shooting it on set on location.
Exactly, and doing any type of special effects that would require complicated light settings like that. Maybe not the smartest choice.
Yeah. But after that, we cut to a title card, and it is 3 years later. I love the title. I love the fast forwards in this movie.
Yeah.
They're great. Max goes through her morning routine, set to a very somber tone. Mm-hmm. It's like, this movie's like, she's sad.
she's depressed.
to push that she's depressed. She watches home videos of her and her mom.
That's what she does in the morning. That's her morning routine.
I'm like, and then her aunt calls her down the stairs because Gertie has arrived. Gertie asks her about. I'm thinking this is Chris.
Yeah, and Gertie's
They're talking about Chris already.
Aaliyah Shawkat. I love her.
Where's she from?
Well, I know her from Whip It with Elliot Page and Drew Barrymore. The rollerblade movie.
Oh God, I forgot that movie existed.
I love that movie. But yeah, right now Aaliyah is 32 years old, and this was 2015.
Yes.
So she's like in her late 20s playing a teenager.
She was the one. I will say the one thing about this movie is you can tell everyone here was in their 20s.
Yeah. Oh, easily.
As a teenager.
They weren't trying to cast teenagers. That's for sure.
That probably is part of the parody.
Yeah. Oh, that's
he
true.
Was trying to do.
That's true.
That's probably just part of the parody.
I didn't even think of
hiring
that.
people who are so overaged. And Gertie talks about Max about how Chris broke up with Vicky recently.
And Vicky, we'll find out, is Nina from Vampire Diaries. Also, I looked up her age, is 32 at the moment. So.
Okay, so same age as Gertie.
Mm-hmm.
Gertie's actress. As much as her name is Vicky, as much as this movie wants you to think so, she does not turn out to be icky.
No, she is far from icky.
We cut to a study session at the local diner, and Chris and Max are very both into each other, and Chris is a himbo.
Oh, if there was a picture of anybody next to the definition of himbo in the dictionary, it would be him.
That's when freaking Gertie's brother walks in. He's the only character whose name I do not have.
Yeah.
I just call him brother, and Max is already over it. He walks in, and she's like, "Get the fuck out!
Yeah.
I know where this is going. I don't need you here."
He's obviously bothered her about what he's going to be talking about in a minute, multiple times, and it's not cool. She's not cool with it at all.
He wants her to join him, and I guess the rest of the club, like a Camp Bloodbath club, to a double feature. And my note is, read the room, my guy.
Yeah.
That guy needs to know how to read a room. Max says no again, but the brother just says, "I'll do all of your classwork for the next year," if she agrees to go.
Yeah, because he says he knows she's failing, and I guess it's probably due to her mother passing and having difficulties with that, obviously.
Of course. So she probably agrees off screen, because next thing we know, we're just cutting. We smash cut.
Yeah.
To Max at the movie theater, and I think Gertie shows up right as she's getting there.
Something like that, and they're right in front of the movie poster. And I love the movie poster.
Great movie poster. Yeah. Then Chris shows up for moral support.
Mm-hmm, that was nice.
And my note here is, be like Chris. Be like Chris. He compliments her mom, which I think he even notes is a little weird.
Yeah, he does. He's like, I probably shouldn't have said that.
And he comforts her when Max says that it's her mom's death anniversary. Also, why the fuck are you sharing this movie on her mom's death anniversary?
Plot. But yes.
True. And now Chris's ex, Vicky, shows up with just a random fucking dude.
Yeah. Just to get him jealous.
And she's like, she's there to show him off, and Chris is just like, I'm not.
He's like, I don't care.
I don't want to deal with this shit. We get another smash cut straight to inside the theater, and we get a four-way conversation with Vicky, and Vicky is that girl. She's that girl.
Elaborate.
She's like, the whole thing I know Stanford's my safety school, but you kind of just you're still worried. And I'm like, oh God, you're that girl.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so scared I'm not gonna get into Stanford. It's my safety school. It's okay.
It's shut up.
However, we do know that her and Max do have some sort of history. We don't know what exactly was the catalyst to them to no longer be friends. We just know they know each other from before.
See, I didn't pick up on that. In that moment, I only picked up on it when they talk later in the movie, and I was like, "Oh, they were friends! It was a whole friend group." And then I guess shit happened.
You were not listening, were you?
No,
Because Gertie says, I can't believe you were friends with her.
Yeah, no, I wasn't listening.
Chris, God, this is so, like, it's so cheesy cute, but it's just so cheesy. He's like, I get some popcorn, some M&Ms. It could be like roulette because you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is so fucking cringy.
The movie is campy, and that's probably why I love it. I love camp, so I'm vibing with it no matter how weird it is.
Vicky is like super clingy, even post breakup. And she's like, you know what I like? Like, you know, a small popcorn, throw half of it into the garbage can.
Yeah,
I was like, Jesus.
She's a delight. I know, obviously, she's playing this as you're not supposed to like her. She's the mean girl.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So I'm like, there's more to you. There's more to your character.
Yeah, it turns out her and Max are ex-best friends. That's what Gertie says. I can't believe you were best friends with her. Stepbro shows up and is annoying and weird, and then he eats shit when trying to, like, jump over the movie, like, railing.
Yeah.
Did you see in the bloopers, like, when they had to do the cut take and he, like, genuinely fucking hurt himself?
Yeah, he, like, rolled his ankle, and I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. God, that... From someone who's rolled his ankle and, like, had, like, a big injury when rolling his ankle, that doesn't feel good even when it's, like, a light rolling of the ankle. We cut to the most awkward movie group to ever exist. It's all them sitting next to each other, and I'm like, I'm so uncomfortable watching y'all next to each other.
I've been in that situation, and I was like, oh, I feel this. I've felt this energy before, and it's not fun.
We get the beginning of the movie, and to keep up with the Friday, the stereotypical 3 in a car. It's the 3 main characters in a car. We kept it up. Max's mom is one of them. Chris asks Max if she's okay, and we go back to the film and we get the killer Billy backstory.
Yes.
We get 3 of these, and it's hilarious every time. Like, the payoff to the final one is hilarious. While the movie's playing, we get a Final Destination level of events.
Oh, you put that in your notes too. I did too.
Yeah, this is Final Destination.
Yeah.
It's a bottle of alcohol gets dropped on the ground, and then, like, the remnants of a guy smoking weed touches the alcohol and sets the place ablaze. That's, like, the chain of events that starts this. Max starts to head out of the theater to get some air as the set piece reaches its conclusion and the theater is set on fire. Someone decided that they were going to bring a real machete to the movie theater.
Yeah.
That's what I acknowledged. Because she grabs a real machete.
With weight.
With actual weight. And I guess she asks, like, is there an exit behind the screen?
Yeah, behind the projection screen.
So they cut it open, and the Max and the group head through the screen, and they end up in Camp Bloodbath.
They literally slash their way into the movie.
I love the colors that she wakes up in, because it's so vibrant.
Yes.
For, like, a horror movie.
I think it's to give that, 70s, 80s feel that this movie, that the, fake movie is going with. I
believe Tina's dance scene is set to Warren's Cherry Pie, which is an 80s song, so I believe this is the 80s.
Okay.
The van from the beginning of the movie arrives and asks if they know the way to camp, and the group kind of have, like, are we just having, like, a collective dream?
Yeah, a collective, like, fever dream type of situation.
We then cut to probably what's, like, one of the first time I laughed in this movie. It cuts and it goes 92 minutes later.
I was like...
It's such a specific number.
Yep, and I was like...
That you don't get what the joke is yet until the second part happens. We get a Groundhog Day effect with the van arriving back and asking if they know the way to camp. Happens again. I guess the brother says, let's sit.
Yeah.
It's because they sit on a log, and we get another cut to 92 minutes later. And the van arrives again. This time they hitch a ride with Tina and
Adam, right?
I don't remember his character's name. That's the issue.
I think his name or whatever. Adam, Tina, and Mom in the back.
I just call her Mom. Nancy. Her name's Nancy.
Thank you.
Reason why is because these are all characters of final girls from other movies.
I didn't catch on to that. Who's
Nancy, Nightmare on Elm Street. Tina, if I remember correctly, I may have to pull this up, but I think Tina is the name of the final girl in Nightmare 3.
Okay. And then Adam, but whatever.
No one cares about Adam. But there is a lot of
homages,
callbacks to final girls from other movies.
That's awesome.
They get into the car and like they're like, "Why are we going in there?" He's like, "We have to. This is the only way we progress is if we get into this van." And we get some of the best back and forth. And this is where I officially start laughing. Thankfully, it's just Tina. They were driving. It's like, "Oh, we have more counselors than ever. The kids are gonna be so pumped." And I'm just like, she's trying so hard, and I love her. And there's like another one where Adam's like talking about their clothes.
That they're weird clothes
like,
or whatever, yeah.
"Are you guys poor people? Are you poor? Are you poor people?" I was just like, I don't know why that broke me, but it did. And then the other one was just, "I brought this, and like an enema or something."
Yeah.
And the brother was like, "Yeah, you did." She's like, "What? She's going to get naked." And Tina just goes, "How did you know?" I was just like, this is great. This is so good. Just banter. We get the Sleeping Beauty scene where Mother awakens Miss Nancy. And she talks to Max, and we get a brief interaction between them. And it's like, this is what I've been waiting for.
That was such a touching
This is the
scene.
moment.
And I really liked the lighting. I know it was due to the curtain in the back of the van, but it was a nice, like, neon purple pink type of lighting that kind of gives it like a dream sequence situation.
That, but also for some reason the van reminded me of Texas Chainsaw.
Oh, easily, yeah. Well, because they had the hippie van in Texas Chainsaw, so yeah.
We are now at camp, and the crew huddles up, wanting to get out. Stepbro says they don't exist yet, like, you know, quote unquote funny. It's not really that funny. And he gives us the rule of the movie, which is anybody who takes off their top summons Billy.
Yep.
Anyone who has sex dies. The group. Oh my God! I remember what I call Adam's character in this. I call him Dirk Diggler.
That's fitting. That's very
such
fitting.
a Dirk Diggler character. So Vicky goes up to him and he says something, and she's like, "Oh right, 1980s, yay feminism."
Yeah. I like the little comments in this film.
Yep.
They're a lot of fun.
The stepbrother interacts with him, with Dirk, and eventually Dirk throws the keys into the woods and says they can have the van if they can find the keys.
And he says, Adam says something, and the brother's like, "The writing is so bad."
So
and I'm
bad.
like, this is us with all of the Friday movies.
Except it's not us looking at it with like adoration. It's just us being like,
oh God.
"Oh God, the writing's so bad." Max walks over to talk to Nancy, and they have a conversation about sex. She's like, no sex. Keep your pants on. And Nancy's like, "Tina's had sex, and she's doing great." And we cut to Tina just like dancing on Chris.
Absolutely grinding on Chris. And his face is just like, 4 oral 4, do not compute. It was too funny.
And her face is so... Tina has the best facial acting.
Yes.
The actress for Tina.
Yes.
The best facial
She's having
acting.
a great time. She's doing such a good job.
We get a brief moment with the camp counselors, and Nancy finds out that none of them are on the roster. Mm-hmm. So they're not supposed to be here.
And she's putting 2 to 2 together.
Yep. Eventually, she never finds out who they actually are. She just kind of knows they're not meant to be there. Right. We cut back to the movie's first official kill, which is the group watches as Billy kills a flower child and a beefed up hiker, like a beefy hiker.
I love that the theme song plays in the sky when Billy's coming. And they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, this is fantastic. I know I'm going to have a great time with this movie.
Billy, I believe, crushes the hiker's head.
Something like that, yeah.
And what does he do to the flower child again?
I think
Doesn't
he just slashes
like,
her.
He slashes her?
I think so.
It's a quick kill. Everyone in the group besides the stepbrother starts to run because he thinks he's safe because they're not part of the movie. Therefore, Billy doesn't know what to do with them.
Good logic, but
it is good logic. He licks some blood. Not good logic.
thinking it's corn syrup.
Corn syrup. He's like, nope, that's blood. And I'm like,
Yep.
Because you're in a movie, my guy. And he talks about the movie's final girl. And he eventually tries to take a selfie, and Billy walks towards him, looks down at him, walks away. A few seconds pass, and a projectile machete just goes straight into the stepbrother.
Yeah, it was unexpected to me because I was starting to believe the stepbrother's theory, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then right out of nowhere, phew.
See, I was thinking that too, and I was like, oh, does that mean they have to perform an action that makes them part of the movie? Like, they have to stop someone from dying, and then that therefore makes them the cast of this movie.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. But no.
No.
Billy's just smart.
But really interesting that they killed the horror buff as the first kill in the group.
He's the horror buff, but he's also the douchey one.
True, but still.
I kind of figured he was going to be the first one to die because he was the most reckless one.
That's fair.
The group runs back to camp, and we get this same scene over and over again of them running, and it is so dizzying.
God, I was getting so sick with this spin shot. And it had a fish lens on it as well. Oh, yes. I hated it so... I had to look away. I couldn't watch it.
Max realizes the movie won't let them leave, and we cut to black. Which is really weird, because it's like a long cut to black.
Yeah.
We're at the Kumbaya circle.
Good old Kumbaya. Kumbaya.
And the counselors are singing. And Vicky's like, I want to know what the chainsaws are. I want to know where everything is.
She's smart. I'm loving Vicky.
I will say something about Vicky in this movie is she goes at Max a lot, but the things she goes at Max for, she's technically right about.
Yes. There was never a scene where I was like, ooh, girl, that's not cool. I was like, no, you know what? She's making good points.
Like, is she maybe being insensitive by going at her as hard as she is? Yes. But the context and the meaning of what she's saying does have a very strong footing in this situation they're in.
Right. And I think Max knows that.
Yeah. The girls decide they need to find a way to survive Billy, and the final girl from Camp Rock 2 is who arrives. She's from Camp Rock 2. She's the one who's like... She's like the one who's like part of like the stalker storyline with Nick Jonas.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
It's so weird. I was like, oh god, it's Camp Rock.
But her entrance, iconic.
Her exit, iconic. We cut back to the group. And they all decide they're going to stick to everyone's going to stick to a counselor.
Right.
And I think Vicky says something like, I'm going to stick to, like when the final girl shows up, she's like, I'm going to stick her like rice on a something.
Oh, white on rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I like how just witty Vicky
yes.
becomes. Max, so basically they're all going to stay with the counselor, so they make sure no one breaks a movie rule.
Right.
Which is everyone has to keep their shirts on. Max says she'll be with her mom. Basically, she splits everyone up. That Max says, I'll be with my mom. And this is where Vicky says something that is very true. She says that's not her mom, and her being delusional is going to get everyone killed.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that...
She's not wrong.
No, she's not at all. I'm glad Max was being called out for that. It's just, unfortunately, it's from a character that no one in the friend group trusts or likes.
And everyone's like, oh, that's so brutal. Like, no, it's not.
It's so true.
That's not her mom. It's a fictional character. Team Vicky.
Oh, Team Vicky all the way.
Team Vicky. The group splits up, and we get a montage of the pairings. We get Playboy talk with Chris and Dirk Diggler.
Oh, yes.
We get Pin talk with Gertie. We get cassette talk with Tina and Vicky. Best duo.
Oh,
The best duo is Tina
100%.
and Vicky.
If there was a spin-off movie, I want Tina and Vicky.
Same. We get sex talk, and is this the one? Yeah, this is the one where we get the gay trope.
Yeah, so Adam...
And Chris's dad is gay.
Yeah.
He has his parents.
He has 2 gay fathers, and Adam
Yes.
says something very homophobic and derogatory, and Chris is like, yeah, I wouldn't say that if I were you. I'm going to beat the crap out of you if you keep going.
He says that about when he gets kind of like physical with Dirk Diggler, that's because she mentions Max.
Right.
He mentions Max. However, this is what Dirk Diggler says. He says, gay guys can't have kids. They're too busy going to discos and having sex. Doesn't sound that bad, actually. I was just like, it's a little funny just because this trope is so specific.
Oh, yeah.
It's such an oddly specific, like going to discos.
It is the 80s, like, you know.
It is, but also it's like the only people at discos are gay people. At the disco. You know where I spend my weekends, Paige?
The disco.
The disco. What's the disco? My bed. But basically he says, you know, he wants to get with Nancy and Max, and then Chris, like, you know, gets physical with him. We get some final girl talk with Vicky and the final girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get mother talk. We get Max and mom together. And this is the scene where I think Nancy's supposed to have sex with Dirk Diggler.
Yes, because Max comes in and puts an end to that.
Yes. We get the mother from the beginning of the movie, which is the scene. Dirk comes in and tries to get it on with the both of them.
He's disgusting.
He's so gross. And he has like the rose tattoo on his arm.
I hate him.
And Chris runs in, and this guy's in like lilac whitey tighty.
Yeah.
It's like so lilac. I'm like, wow, that's such a specific color. Down the stairs, Gertie screams because she just saw Billy standing outside the window, and they tell Max to explain everything.
Shawcat's horror scream, like her final girl scream, was amazing.
Also, I like at this moment where they bring up Billy, and then bringing up Billy begins the next part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like it turns everyone from paying attention to them, and like they all go sit in the kumbaya circle and they start talking about it. And Nancy gives the
history.
Oh, all the counselors think it's a myth, and I just want to do it because this is a callback to a joke I had in episode 2. I can't believe it's actually back. And Tina goes, "Oh, I thought Billy was like a myth, like Loch Ness Monster or Bon Jovi." And I was just like, "Oh my God, we're bringing back." I had Bon Jovi was one of my jokes from fucking part 2 of Friday.
It's
I
like
can't
they
believe Bon
knew.
Jovi's getting mentioned. Nancy begins the next section of the movie, and the group is probably the coolest visual effect shot of this entire movie. They are transported to a flashback, and like the world around them like contorts into a flashback.
Yes. To me, it kind of looks like the film, because it's like a dripping sensation. It kind of reminds me of if the film was being melted. If you're literally cutting film together as you do when you're editing. I thought that was really cool. And then when they get there and it's black and white, Gertie's like, "Why am I colorblind?
Am I having a stroke?
It's so,
Am I having a stroke?"
Yeah, it's so good.
It turns out the camp counselor is killed.
Right.
Well, they didn't kill him. They caused the event that causes him to get maimed and go on his revenge. The group is transported back, and Gertie has blood on her face.
I noted that.
From the flashback, and that's when the group freaks the fuck out.
I really, really liked that touch.
Dirk and Final Girl get in the car, and they begin to leave while the others watch. Stepbro is not dead.
Oh, yeah. Surprise.
And the car runs him over and quote-unquote kills him, and we get literally, like, I consider it another Final Destination domino effect, because they hit him, and then they hit the camp entrance.
Yeah.
And Dirk goes flying out of the car. And then they were like, "Oh, okay, okay, final girl's still alive," and then she dies.
The car erupts into flames. And I just saw my note. Adam's character is the actor's name Adam?
I believe so.
Okay, that's why I'm calling him Adam. His name is Kirk. Or Kurt. Kurt.
Kurt. Okay.
Yeah. So, there you go.
There we go. Too bad he's dead, so it really doesn't matter anymore. Vicky says, this is a movie, and that this is a movie, we're all screwed because she's dead.
Yep.
And Nancy asks Max what's going on, and we cut to the entire group in the living area of the cabin, which is like a very Friday Part 1 thing where every big scene took place in the main area of the main cabin. Tina is forced to wear a floating oven mitts, and she's like, why do I gotta wear these? And they're like, because later in the movie you have a strip scene and that summons Billy, and she's like, but why does he hate my boobs, because they're not big. And it's just like, I love how stupid her character is.
It's fantastic.
And how consistently dumb she is.
Yes.
The group nominates a new final girl, and Vicky's like, it'll be me. And and Chris is like, you can't be the final girl. She's like, why? Because it's like, you're not a virgin. She's like, yes, I am. And Chris looks at her like,
bitch.
I know you're not. And then they're like, how about Gertie? Gertie's like, okay, so.
About that.
Truth is, I've already had sex.
Yeah.
So they were like, Max. And then Nancy says, I'll be. Because Max says, no, I do not want to do this. I do not want to be the final girl. So Nancy says she wants to be the final girl because she never had sex with Kurt. Therefore, she's still
a virgin.
A virgin. Qualification for final girl. And Vicky says, you can't. You're meant to die.
Yeah. Oof.
And Nancy runs away.
Hurt, obviously.
Max follows. This is where I was like, okay. This is probably the one time where I was like, Vicky.
Not the time, girl. Yeah.
Not cool. She eventually catches up at a tree, and Nancy talks about her dreams to Max. And again, another moment between Max and Nancy where it's allowed to breathe, and we get this, we get a good character moment between the two of them.
Emotional connection.
Max now finds the resolve to fight under the pretense that she wants to get her mom out of this alive.
Yeah.
We cut to Operation Booby Trap montage.
I thought the editing for the montage was pretty well done.
Yes.
I enjoyed it a lot. A lot of fun camera angles, editing tricks that were utilized. It's good shit.
Vicky, we cut to a dock, and Vicky apologizes to Gertie and tells Max about how her mother's death affected her, and basically Max shut herself off and basically she's the one who cut Vicky off.
Yeah, and that's why Vicky, I guess, is kind of spiteful about that, which I can understand.
Yeah. She's saying this. She's saying all this because she understands the situation, and she knows her trope in this movie.
Right.
She knows she's the mean girl. She knows she's gonna die.
Self-awareness at its finest.
And I was like, okay, this is character growth. This is literally character growth of shitty person, desperate, but at the same time still understands she's not meant to live.
Right. Yeah.
And her, I remember we talked about this beforehand, but Max and Gertie are both like, you're not wrong. You are kind of that trope.
Yeah.
The three head back to the cabin. They stop Tina from taking off her oven mitts. And she's like, what's this? And they were like, a cell phone. She's like, this isn't a cell phone. Because how can I fit it in my mouth? She's like so fucking crazy.
God.
And then to make her even more insane, Tina finds the Adderall.
Here we go. This is where it gets nuts.
And we cut to Max and Nancy making fire arrows. Nancy gives Max a friendship bracelet after they talk about Max's mom. Max says there's a possibility that Nancy could leave with Max and get out of the movie. And this is where delusions, this is where where Vicky brought up her delusions, this is one of them.
Yeah.
The group arrives and turns out Tina had 30 Adderall.
Or somewhere
around
around
still
there.
kicking after 30 Adderall.
Yeah. Yeah.
She is now, I put my note, psycho-focused.
Yes. That's a good way to put it.
And the group put the plan into motion. They were like, can you do this? She's like, I can do this. I'm ready. I got this. I got this. Cue the best part of this movie.
Oh,
to me.
100%.
This is the funniest part.
Credit to Tina's actor.
They're like, unleash the monster. And they put the record player on. Warren's Cherry Pie comes on. And the way this scene is shot, it's shot from outside the cabin, so all you can see is the door frame. That's like the only thing that's your portal to the inside. And Tina's right, and she like kicks in the air and like spins into the middle. And she like takes off the tape with her teeth. She strips everything off, and her face is so focused.
It's primal. It's credit to Tina's actor. She really puts her all into the striptease.
This is so funny. Because you can tell it's fully improvised. This is a fully improvised scene.
Yeah, they were basically like, okay, you just do a crazy striptease like you just took 30 Adderall. She's like, got it, no problem.
Eventually, she lifts her bra up. Therefore, officially, like it's Billy time. He gets closer, and this is the first time we get Billy teleporting.
Yes.
Tina freaks out and she falls headfirst into the bear trap.
Yeah, another Final Destination type of situation to me.
Yeah. I do find it a little funny that her death is so quick.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, like, blink and you miss
You're
it.
like, oh,
she's
shit.
just dead. Yeah. Billy makes it inside and is impaled on a bunch of deer antlers. Gertie and I don't know this counselor's name. They kiss.
Oh, yeah, the other guy. Yeah.
When he heads down the stairs, he gets killed by Billy.
Yeah. Is this where the chain of events happen and, like, there's that spinning camera that's going on and the flipping of the camera?
Yes.
Oh, my
yes.
God. Another
This is
scene
it.
I couldn't
This is the
watch.
one.
It was just disgusting.
I got it. Gets killed by Billy, and we get a crazy camera scene. That is literally my next.
Yeah,
note.
it was way too much.
Nancy, Max, and Chris stay down the stairs, and they shoot fire arrows at Billy while the others head upstairs. Vicky and Gertie prepare for the next part of the trap, while Nancy escapes out of the window, but it goes wrong, and Billy ends up dropping the bookcase on Vicky and Gertie.
Yeah.
And he stabs Gertie through the bookcase. Max sends an arrow at him to basically try and get his attention, but Vicky tells them to go. Get out of there. Her and Gertie hold hands, and Vicky sets the room ablaze with... which, this is the one moment of the movie I was a little confused, because it's a very heartfelt moment, followed by a very joke comedy moment.
Yeah, you go from one extreme to another, but I really liked Vicky's redemption. Her
Same.
death was really, really good. I felt pretty emotional about it.
I like that a lot of these kills are not insane, disgusting kills. They're very basic kills.
Basic and quick, but still very
Yes.
effective.
Like, the most brutal kill is probably half a second, which is Tina's,
Yeah.
and they do not focus on that kill. It's so
it happens
just,
and you move
it
on.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
Vicky tells them to go. They all jump out of the window, and we get this thing where Nancy's like, "What's happening?" And Max is like, "Slow motion."
And Billy's coming through the window on fire and everything. It was a really cool shot, I gotta say.
It was.
If this movie's using slow-mo, this would be the time to use it. Really, really
Also,
liked it.
I just like that they at least kept the thing of Friday keeps slow-mo for too long.
Yes.
Like, Friday always takes the slow-mo and pushes it to, like, 11.
Yep.
This slow-mo happens way too long for a movie.
I think it's a good 3 minutes.
I don't know if it's 3 minutes, but it's a while.
Yeah.
They run away in slow motion. and they're like jumping over a little creek, and while they're midair, the slow motion ends and they fall right down. Nancy, Max and Chris tell Nancy, do a flashback, like commence the flashback.
Yeah.
They commence the flashback, and they're like, are we safe? And Billy's in the flashback, and we get like 1957, and the car runs over Billy into the title card.
I love it.
Such a good thing. I just like that everything in this movie is in this movie.
Yes. I know exactly what you mean.
Is it a title card? You can smash through a title card at that point. After the car crashes into Billy, this leads to Max getting the machete, and she's like, this is a heavy machete. This thing is solid. The flashback shows the group where Billy hides now in current time. And Billy appears and kidnaps Nancy and injures Chris in the process when they come back in time.
Right. He stabs them, right?
Max and Chris make it to an abandoned chapel where Max tends to Chris before heading back to find Nancy. And this is where even Chris is like, she's gone. Like, he's basically become the Vicky role.
The voice of reason.
Yeah. However, right now, this is the moment where I said Max has fully become Sidney Prescott.
Oh, 100%.
She is Sidney at this point. And we get to a very, like, scary scene. Just, like, thematically a scary scene. She gets to Billy's cabin and the lights are red.
Yes, the lighting in this scene.
Something about, like, blood red floodlights is just so, like, unsettling to look at.
Yep.
A door opens and she finds Nancy, but she sees, I forgot who she sees strung up first. I think it's Flower Girl and Hiker?
I think so. But the only thing I wasn't really vibing with for this sequence of scenes is the flashing lights in the abandoned cabin. It was getting a little too much for my eyes because it was a really big contrast with a really, really dark scene, and so the flashing lights were very drastic. It was too much.
While this is all going on, she frees Nancy. Billy arrives. We get a brief fight, and Billy stabs Max. And then Nancy stabs him with his machete. And Nancy helps Max back to the chapel.
Yes.
Nancy says Max won't die because she's still alive. So basically, this is the thing of they're both final girl material.
Yes. But Nancy...
So one of them has to die.
Yeah, and Nancy knows that she's meant to die, so it has to happen that way.
Yes. Max wants Nancy to be the final girl. When they talk, this eventually leads to Max revealing that Nancy is her mom in real life.
Right.
They get like this like great back and forth.
Really great acting from both of them.
Nancy tells Max to let her go and that she'll always know where to find her. Nancy kisses Max on the forehead before heading outside. And this is such a great scene because, you know, it's like she says, Nancy tells Max that her mom knows she loves her. And she's like, your mom was right about one thing. And like, she's like, I'm a movie star.
This is where I started to get emotional. I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go.
And then we get Betty Davis eyes.
And then the tears started. And I was like, oh.
It's just like, oh, this is the breaking moment. I was like, I made it. Good for me. I did it. And then Betty Davis eyes. And I'm like typing notes. And I have like a single tear.
Yeah, it's just like, nope, I lost.
God. Fuck. I have to write notes. Like tearing up. I'm looking up. And I'm like tearing up more when I see this happen.
Yeah.
Nancy is dancing. Accepts her fate, accepts her fate, and we see Billy arrive.
Right.
And she notices him, but then she just turns towards Max. And we get... This is probably the scene this is probably the point where it actually broke me, because she does the same gestures as her mom did at the beginning, right now.
Which ones? What do you mean?
So when she sees Billy, looks back at Max because she just doesn't want to look at Billy coming at her, understandably so.
Yeah.
And she starts to do the pointing dance.
Yeah.
With Max.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's just like, it's the same interaction from the beginning, practically, but now it's here. Mm-hmm. And Billy kills her.
Yep.
In a great scene, because it's a wide shot, and he just puts the machete through her stomach, and that's
it. It was great. It was, again, this movie is consistent with its deaths. They're quick, but effective.
Yes. Max is officially the final girl. And she gets her level up.
Yeah, she's pissed.
Max grabs the machete and goes out for the final fight with Billy. By the way, I just want to say, I haven't acknowledged this so far, the techno music in this movie is really good.
I forgot to mention it. I love the soundtrack. You can definitely hear, basically it's the Friday theme song on very different variations with a very synth bass to it. And I really, really, really loved it.
Also, the final scene where they're in,
the field.
Kind of like the sky's like red and purple.
Yeah, with the storm.
It's like the final fight scene. Really cool fight scene. We get probably the one line of the movie, whereas you fucked with the wrong final girl.
You gotta give a line to, you know what I mean?
We get such a cool fight between these two.
Yeah.
This is a cool fight. They're just like throwing each other around.
Horror movie or not, it was almost like an action film at that point.
It's like a 90-second fight too. It's not that long. Yeah. It's quick. The fight ends with Max sliding under a projectile knife, followed by her cutting Billy's head off.
Mrs. Voorhees style. Yes. Loved it.
Chris joins Max as the in-movie credits roll in like the sky.
I really liked that. I thought that was a nice touch.
They kiss and the movie begins to go crazy around them.
Again, it's the melting film.
Basically this movie's over.
The film's ending. Exactly.
Max wakes up in the hospital in a bed next to Chris, and she hears voices coming from like the other side of the curtain. And it's it's all the friends who are real life characters.
Yeah, I was so thrilled to see everybody. It was great. And they were like eating Jello.
Vicky's like furry coat, like her furry like
her robe,
hospital gown.
Yeah, I loved it.
That is the most Vicky shit. Max sees that she still has the bracelet from before, and she has a flashback of like the movie and of her mom. The group hears the killer's music again, and they realize, which I was like, oh shit, I forgot. It's a double feature. They're in a sequel.
I didn't realize it either. It was great.
And also, unfortunately, the beginning of the second movie of Camp Bloodbath is basically the beginning of Friday Part 4.
Yeah.
Of creepy doctor with like dumb nurse, who's like not dumb. Like the writers write her dumb in a way. Because like she's like, no, I don't like that. Take my shirt off more. It's very mixed message. Billy comes like crashing through the hospital doors with 2 machetes now,
and it's through the title card for the second movie. It was fantastic.
Max like swings her like, I don't know what she grabs necessarily.
I think it was it like the IV stand?
It had a very sharp edge. That was the only reason why I was like confused. It was if it was the IV stand.
Okay.
And she lunges ahead at him, and we get some fantastic bloopers set to Cruel Summer to end this movie.
It was very nice. I liked it a lot.
This movie didn't get a sequel.
Very disappointed.
When we continue, when we get to the movie roundup, I have an idea for a sequel. I want to give it to you.
All right, you want to get to it then?
Right. Yeah, you want to say the words?
Sure. And now it's time for the movie roundup. Okay, let's start the movie roundup. To me, it was a really fun movie. I really liked all the homages to not just Friday, but the slasher franchises in general. Fun takes and ideas with the flashbacks and incorporating the movie within a movie, kind of like Inception style. The acting was good. The writing was good. again, very campy, and I'm a sucker for campiness, so I really liked it. You could tell everyone involved, the crew, the cast, everybody really had a good time and enjoyed making this movie, which makes it really sad that they didn't do a sequel. But that's what counts when you're making a movie, and you can tell that's what really contributed to this movie being special and fun. A lot of the camera work were interesting choices. A lot of them, editing wise and camera angles, did make me ill. But the music was so good. I think I kind of want to see if I can find the soundtrack on Spotify or something. But overall, I gave it a 8 out of 10 for just enjoyability.
Lucky for you, I gave it an 8 out of 10.
So tell me what you think.
The best way I put this is the perfect movie and no haunt movie.
100%.
Really fun to talk about, really fun to go through. I have no desire to make a haunt out of this.
No.
Like last episode with Black Christmas, it sucked because I actually wanted to make a house out of Black Christmas. This one, I'm like, I had no real desire to. I just had fun with the movie.
I think it being a parody kind of makes it what we don't want to, why we don't want to make it a haunt. Yeah, for sure.
I like the cast is what really sold this movie. I think if you had probably people who were not as experienced as them, this script really wouldn't have worked very well. I think the cast really took a script that was maybe a little bit more average than we both acknowledge it for being, but really made it a slightly above average. This movie I liked. I had an idea. It's good when I can make an idea for a sequel, and it's like, okay, I cared enough to think about this post watching the movie. Like I said, I give it an 8 out of 10. Some like you said, camera choices were very questionable. But more often than not, I found myself enjoying it than not. But, okay. Do you want to hear my idea for a sequel?
Of course.
Okay. I think if we were to set this in today's time, we would follow the Groundhog Day effect, where if the character that's meant to be the final girl of this movie dies, you basically go back to the beginning of the movie. Like, you have to make it through the movie alive. And part 2 is all about, like, in my idea, part 2's later in the 80s, and this movie is about since the first one was so tropey, this one's about breaking tropes. Okay. So in this movie, at the beginning, they all focus around keeping Max alive, but the movie keeps restarting every time. And you eventually learn that in this movie, it's supposed to be Vicky who's the final girl, not Max.
Ooh, that would be great.
And the way they realize it is something happens where Max dies, but Vicky doesn't, and the movie continues going forward.
Right. I like this idea.
So it's the thing of, okay, well, if the movie's supposed to be the trope, it's not about who's the virgin or anything. It's about who is secretly, like, the good person, like the misunderstood person of the group that ends up surviving, which would be Vicky's character. Making it to the end and getting everyone out of the series.
It kind of has a Happy Death Day feel to it, for sure.
Or it could just be the final girls, and it's supposed to be Max and Vicky are supposed to be at the end together.
Work together, get past their shit. Yeah, I like that.
So instead of it being like, oh, it has to be the final guy and the final girl, it's just Max and Vicky get it to the end. I think allowing that kind of thing where it's the character who you least expect to be allowed to make it to the end is the one who's genuinely supposed to make it to the end.
I like this idea. I'm really sad that obviously there's not going to be a sequel. No. But that would be such a fun idea.
And also, I just feel like now we have a lot more tropes they can work with, especially the Groundhog Day trope. I would like to see how this movie would deal with the Groundhog Day.
Yeah, for sure. They were touching on it in the beginning because, if you didn't begin the movie would just begin again. But I feel like that would be a really fun idea, for sure.
that's kind of all I have for this movie. It's really hard to talk about a movie when it's good because it's like, yeah, it's just good.
We're not picking it apart. It was just thoroughly enjoyable. Yeah, it was a great time. I hope you people watch it. Give it a shot.
Yeah, and are ready for this closing bit where I get to introduce the next movie?
Please do. I'm very excited.
All right. So, you know what? I'm just going to do this. We're not going to cut and we're not going to have like a closing segment right after it. Let's
roll
just do
into
this.
it. Let's go.
Next episode is officially our first double feature. We are doing Candyman double feature, 1992, 2021. We're not doing those straight to DVD ones. I refuse. The way this is going to work is, since we want to give both these movies their time that they both deserve. One movie's going to be released Saturday, other one's going to be released Sunday. Basically, boom, boom, instead of having, like a 4-hour episode.
Yeah, that would be a little tough, so we're going to make it easy on you.
I'm very excited. We are officially going back to movies that we were not alive when they came out, except for, 2021. Right. But this was technically the first movie we were alive when they came out.
And I haven't seen either of the Candyman, so this is going to be a great experience for me personally. And I know you've seen the first one, right?
It has been a while since I've seen the first one. I remember it being good, so I know I'm gonna have a good time with it. I have not seen the second one though. I haven't seen the 2021 version of it. Looking forward to that.
Absolutely. So I hope you people join us. And I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had fun.
Too.
I like when we leave Friday and we're no longer doing bad movies and we just have fun.
We're just enjoying it. But all right. Until next time, guys.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.